Hi, my name is Jorge. I go by he, him, his, and identify as cisgendered gay man. Kind of from two places. So I was born in El Paso, Texas, a little border town right next to like Juarez, Mexico. Used to like go in between the two a lot too because I had family in both places. I lived there until I was about 11 years old, and then I went to Dallas. So like until I was 11, kind of got bullied a lot as a kid. Didn't really have any friends there. Had a lot of family though, so that really helped out. They were very supportive. Then I moved to Dallas when I was 11, started meeting new people, but kind of there it's like, especially where I was, is this little suburb called DeSoto. It's kind of like the friends you know are dependent on like where you go to Baptist church. So I didn't really start making friends until like 12 or 13 when I went into Young Life, which I don't know if you know about that. It's like this like youth organization, but mostly like Christian and well, entirely Christian. But so it was kind of like, okay, so my first delve into like closeted life was really around that time when, you know, no one called you gay or no one called you anything. You were just a little like musical and looked down upon a little bit. So there's that. I kind of always take it back to like 7 or 8 when I have a family that's very affectionate and like just big Mexican loving family. So even like a lot of the men and a lot of the uncles are affectionate. And I would always like that affection a little more. And I was, at that time, I kind of equated it to like being the pet, like the pet or like a dog. Like, oh no, like dogs can be like petted and like it's totally cool. Like it's not weird. So I kind of, even when my sisters would play house, I would be the dog with them. So I don't know if that was like a weird little thing, but and then I just kind of kept growing into it more and more and started noticing like all my guy friends are talking about like girls and talking about it in different ways than the way I see them. And that's interesting. In reality, I mean, I was kind of like a late bloomer in a weird way. Like I did kind of come out to my parents when I was 13. It was like the first time I came out to them, I'll say. I was 13. I had very loving family, like I've been saying, very supportive all the time growing up. But when they heard it come out from me, they weren't sure what to do with it. And so I think at that age of 13, they were like, well, you've got hormones raging around in you and like maybe like, you know, just worry about school and worry about your friends and just think about being bisexual for a while and just like leave it at that. Like we'll just leave it at that. We'll put a cap on it. And in a way that kind of threw me back into the closet because it's just like, oh, okay, maybe they're right. Maybe I do like girls and I'm just overthinking this thing and these like weird hormones of mine. I don't remember exactly like what triggered it. I just remember one day really wanting to talk to them. And there's this big like, my house was always chaotic. There's 4 kids, but there was always something going on with all of them between football and band and like I was in theater and so stuff like that. So something was moving around. There was a lot of energy in the house. And I finally just told my parents like, hey, I know it's late, it's a Tuesday. Can we go to a restaurant and like, can I talk to you guys about something? It's like eating me up inside. We went to a Cheddar's. I don't know if you're familiar. It's like Chili's, but nicer. Or supposed to be nicer. Went there. I think I had spinach artichoke dip for the first time. I remember that. And just sort of like, hey, I'm starting to think I might be gay. I'm having these feelings. You know, what do y'all think? And that's kind of when they were like, well, your hormones are raging. You're not really sure what you want. You know, you don't even know you right now. You haven't even had a girlfriend yet. Like, put a lid on this one. You don't need to worry about it. And in hindsight, talking to them, I was like, yeah, I picked a terrible day, like, for them to actually, like, deal with this. And they were trying the best they could. And even, you know, from the years of, like, 13 to 20 when I actually did come out, you know, they would always come up to me like, hey, remember that conversation we had? Like, how are you feeling? Like, how's it going? And it was always like, I'm good. No, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's really fine. Oh no, I'm totally straight. I was like, no, don't worry about it. I'm fine. So I was really like, I was sort of accidentally thrown into the closet, or maybe I just threw myself in too hard. So for college, I went to community college in Dallas. Spent 2 years there. I got my associate's degree, and then decided it was time to just leave the house, and I left. I went to Memphis, Tennessee. Got accepted to Rhodes College, which is a very nice little place. Met new walks of life, new people I never thought I'd be friends with. The theater scene was crazy there too, so it's just like you're just thrown from a little suburban town in Dallas to like crazy, weird theater geeks and theater nerds. And I'm like, okay, like y'all are really loud. Okay, this is fun. But I also pledged a fraternity for the first time, or I rushed it. I don't remember the one before pledging, rushing. Met my then best friend, this guy named Paul, who at the time was like, he openly had a bisexual girlfriend, or his girlfriend was bisexual and very open about it and liked to talk about it. And I'd never met someone who was so open about their sexuality and was like, yeah, I'm going to talk about this with you because this is how I am, this is who I am, this is how I feel. So I asked him about it. I didn't actually get a chance to meet her yet. He simply told me that, like, yeah, she just loves people, and there's really nothing much more to that. And she just loves, and like she loves me right now, but she could love someone else, and it could be a woman, and that's okay. And in my head, like, having someone so cut and dry say, that's okay, was like, huh, Paul, I'm gay. It was like, boom, just stop not saying it's okay to yourself. You know, and that was the thing. I was just constantly in my head, like, no, what's okay is if you're straight, and that would be great. But it's like, but that's not real. And there's nothing there to hang on to. And there's no evidence to support you of that. Like, you've never fantasized about a woman before. So it was just as quick, like, huh, okay. And then we got very drunk off of Jaeger shots, and I don't remember most of the rest of the night. So, college, yay. Oh, like locks on, like, literal giant, heavy, like, antique locks just falling apart inside me. Just, and then, like, the sound they make, too. That's what I felt. So it's just like these heavy metal things just finally coming off, and I'm like, okay, I can say it now. And I did. Haven't backed down since. I guess ultimately, like, really reflect with yourself, really understand, and, like, you know, if you're in the closet, then, like, take the time and, like, get to know yourself, get to really talk to yourself, and be honest with yourself. Because if you really want to be in that dark place, that is dark, and it's very lonely, and you're not sharing it, but there's you in there. You are still in there, and you can still talk to you, and don't be afraid of yourself. That's really, I think, the number one thing. Don't be afraid of yourself, and don't be afraid to talk to yourself. And when you're ready, you'll get out. And we'll be here when you're out. That's the big thing. We're here. Yeah. We're just waiting on you. I think, and I mean, I'm going to say this as if, like, this is going to solve the world. I know it's not, but it's like, I think there's a single issue that is pervasive among a lot of communities, and it hits, I see it a lot in the gay community, and like the cisgendered male gay community. Because that's sort of my world in a way. But I just see misogyny and sexism is a huge problem, not just in this country, but I just see like the weird sexism that shows up between a relationship with two men. And I'm like, y'all, like, you know, why are you putting down your fellow man, your fellow LGBT person, for being too gay? Or, like, you know, wanting to do some things like a little too, you know, too gay. I don't want to say the F word for anyone. It's a trigger. Because it's like, y'all are still bringing in that hetero bullshit of, like, women are less, and so anyone who acts like a woman is less. And I think that extends, and that sort of poisons the well with our trans sisters of color especially. Like, that's a huge issue that we're, like, no one's really, like, getting up and facing. And in my head, I'm like, hey, cisgendered gay men, like, y'all are the most privileged of all the LGBTQ plus people. Like, y'all need to step it up and do better and be better. That's kind of it. Men of the gay community, step it up.
Yeah.
Fight with us. Stop fighting against us. And I'm putting myself with the rest of them, because I fight every day for my trans sisters, my trans brothers, my lesbians, my queers, all that. The kids. The kids are all right. I have a friend in Brooklyn. She is a really great artist, and she teaches painting and art to a lot of middle school and high school kids. So she shows me their painting and their works and their stories, and it's just like these brilliant, like they just don't, I don't know if it is because, like, you know, they just don't care anymore. They've like, I think they see generations ahead of them that have been in the closet and been torn down and have fought out of it and tooth, nail, and claw. And whether it's great that we paved the way for them, or like they're not waiting for the road to be paved, they're coming. Like wait till they turn 18 and start voting, because they're coming, like, in droves. And it's amazing to me that they're in high school willing to just experiment and do these things and call themselves genderqueer and not know or care, you know, about all these little gender politics, these little, like, nuisances that don't matter. So that gives me, like, huge hope. It's just, I think, like, for us in this generation right now, it's like, just keep fighting enough till the cavalry comes in, and then we can really, really see some, like, amazing things happen. Or, you know, do it now for the ones that deserve it. I mean, for one, no one cares that I paint my nails here. I mean, I've painted my nails, like, at my desk, and that's a fun thing. It's just a fun, pretty thing that I like to have and I like to do. That's, like, it's so small, you know, but it really makes a huge impact that you're, like, you know, as long as I'm, like, not sending off noxious fumes to my neighbor or anything like that, I have everyone flocking to me, like, oh my God, that's such a pretty color. I want to borrow that one. I want to do this one. Men and women, too. It's, like, of all types. So but as a broader thing, I've just never felt like my sexuality that I am militantly open about. I've never felt like it's just not an issue. I'm treated just with the same amount of respect as, you know, my peers and all my colleagues. We really are all hooligans. We really do, like, really support and love each other. And even in the diversity groups that we have here, like Hulu Pride, Hulu Black, Hola is the Hispanic one, Hula is the one for, like, women. Everyone's encouraged to join. Everyone wants to hear your voice. Everyone wants to just come together. We're all hooligans, and we can make this place that's great even better. This is an interesting question, just because I'm going through, like, a dip right now in my being and in my life, so I've had to, like, reflect on that a lot. Sometimes not really coming away with an answer. So I think my favorite part about being me is that I know myself. I know the deep, dark well that I can go to, that I have been into. And I know that somehow always there's a part of me that always loves me. And there's, like, this, sometimes a tiny little ball of light, or sometimes this huge, like, spotlight. But I always sort of love me. And that's a hard thing to admit, and that's a hard thing to, like, sometimes realize. And it's saying it out loud kind of, like, sounds small and insignificant, but it's so hard to do that. To really, like, say it and admit it and feel it. And so I think I'm lucky that I can always grab onto that and try hard not to cry to say that.